Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the CA Jacksonville Recreation and Parks Advisory Board. Calling the meeting to order. Can I get an approval of the agenda? Everybody had a chance to look over it?
So move. Approved. Second.
Appreciate it. And the minutes were all emailed out to everybody from January 27th.
Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Yes, sir. There was an amendment to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Correction. Second.
Any opposed? We're good? All right. All right, the director's report. We're going to start with
Mike.
Mr. Mike. Tag, you're it.
Thank you so much. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Just want to talk to you about a couple of things that we've been doing in our Parks Department that hopefully show some kind of impact around the city. We talked briefly before we went on air. We had our job fair a week and a half ago on a Saturday out at our parks facility. We had 35 potential candidates come. That was pretty awesome. We did that from 8 to 12. We are in the process of hiring some individuals to work with us this summer. We're hoping to fill at least 15 spots. You know, I say this every year. We have a great staff, but make no mistake, we cannot do what we do without the assistance of our seasonal help. It's just, we can't do it all without their help. And they're very important to who we are and what we do and the way it gets done. So, but shout out to our HR people. You know, they were very helpful in helping us get through that day, as well as the media people and advertising it out to the public and through social media. Thanks for that. In the meantime, over the last couple of months, we've had 7 of our members, and I'm sure Susan, if she isn't going to talk to you tonight, I'll talk a little bit about it. If you didn't know, we have our stage has been delivered. And while that's great, there are some new challenges for us that maybe we've never had before. So it's a beautiful stage, but we had to get some staff members, both Susan and I, certified on how to set the stage up and how to take the stage down. So I believe Susan had 2 staff members become certified. I've had 2 staff members become certified. I also had, and I think Susan had some other people out there. We also had 5 other people out there, you know, because at the end of the day, this is not a one-person job, and it's probably not even a 2-person job. This is going to be somewhat of a departmental job and a city job for this stage once we start utilizing it for events within our community. So excited to have that, excited that we've got people trained on how to open and close it and how to use all the whistles and bells of it. And pretty.
I will just add, I just want to let everybody know that the Jacksonville Tourism Authority did purchase that for us. So it was a great add-on as far as our events and our festivals that go on and the ones that we offer, the ones we partner with. But I'm very appreciative of their support and our efforts. So the TDA, the Jacksonville TDA did get that for us.
Awesome. So I'm going to bounce around probably a little bit. 2 CIP projects that we're currently involved in. One of them is the marina. Our bids are out right now for our pavilion. Once the pavilion is purchased and it'll get installed, the last thing we have left over there is to do some landscaping, and we'll be able to close that out. So we're excited. We're near the finish line over there. So we're excited about that. The other project that I'm excited about, and I hope you guys are too, is over at the cemetery. There's always been a dirt road over there, and that road does create some havoc for us. It creates havoc for the site. We are able to have that paved this year, so we're excited, and hopefully within the next 3 or 4 months, we'll be able to encumber the money to have that done. Well, one of the ways we hope to get our best price for it is we're kind of piggybacking with the engineering people. So when streets are done throughout the community will get the best price. We'll kind of throw that in with it, because as it stands alone, I'm sure, it's not a very big job, so it would become a little more costly. We want to make it part of something else the city is doing, and hopefully we'll get our best bang for our buck with that. So just to be aware of that. So I'm not sure who edged Georgetown Park. Hopefully you noticed this, and hopefully Mr. Ross noticed over at Wooten. We did paint the floors and the walls at the restrooms over there since we last seen each other. Wanted to give you a heads up on that. Our staff, as you're well aware, does the Christmas decorations, and to do that, we have to go up in the air. So we have to go through what's known as bucket truck training. You can't just get in that bucket and be up there. There are rules and regulations to what you can do up there, how you do it, so we're safe in what we're doing. So we sent the majority of our staff to that, and we also sent them, we actually didn't send them, we contacted a steel representative, Steel STIHL, to come down and give us some chainsaw training. So we think we know how to handle chainsaws, and we train ourselves on that, but it doesn't hurt when we have an outside group come in and maybe, make sure we are dotting our I's and crossing our T's and meeting all the OSHA regulations, and we've got the proper PPP attire. So that's pretty cool that we've been doing that. Exciting for Susan, we've been spraying the ball fields at the Commons and Jack Amiette in preparation for not only her youth leagues, but obviously the Jacksonville Ospreys. And so we're in the process of doing that and getting those fields prepared for what hopes to be a large season. We've done some amenities over at Richard Ray to the amphitheater. There was an area over there with some stones, and I guess we were seeing some, I won't say vandalism, but when kids have little rocks around, they pick them up and throw them. So we took those two areas out and we pavered them. So that's one of the things that I'll always be proud of, that these are some of the things that traditionally you would have to contract those types of things out. We're able to do those things internally. We've got a good amount of staff that have some knowledge in that. Obviously, they're led by Scott and then David, but we've also been able to train staff to learn how to do that, and they're able to take it on too. So hopefully it'll make that site a little more user-friendly for your public as well as any of your vendors.
Stage.
If you haven't noticed, at City Hall, we are in the process of slowly changing out the plants here. And, we've had some people ask, why? Why? Well, first thing is, plants only have so long of a plant life. Our plants at City Hall were done about 20 years ago when City Hall's face was redone. We got a facelift and we changed this building, and a contractor came in and did a lot of the landscaping, and that was fine. We came behind them and changed out some of their ground cover to what you see out today, the brick chips, which you're familiar with. And what we wanted to do, and why we've waited and are doing this now, is we're working in conjunction with New Bridge Street. So as New Bridge Street is being completed, we're doing the landscaping out there also, but we want to tie City Hall, New Bridge, and this whole corridor in together, so it looks like it was planned that way, because it is. So we're in the process of doing that, and if you're wondering, that's why we've waited till now, because we didn't want to put this in and wait for New Bridge, so we've kind of wanted to get it all together. Just be aware of that. For those of you who have rode around in the last week, maybe in the downtown area, by the marina especially, we have the restrooms that are out there. I know I talked a little bit about the pavilion, but the restrooms are out there, and hopefully you'll see them out there. Now, they're mobile restrooms, and The intent of those are not to be mobile, okay? The reason they're mobile was solely because when and if, and maybe I should say if and when, we have any sort of water, hurricane event, we can take them restrooms out of there, and we can get them out of there so there won't be major damage. That was some of the challenge we had to putting traditional bathrooms down there, is that they would end up underwater when those sort of events happened. So we wanted to do something down there that maybe we wouldn't have that problem with, so just be aware of that. I feel like I'm talking a ton. If you're not aware, we on the park side, we have worked with the city, with the engineering staff, with the stormwater staff, and with the management of the city to take on the responsibility of maintaining the SCMs around the city. We call them SCMs. Some of you know them as the stormwater pond areas. That is new for us. That is about 16 of those throughout the city of Jacksonville that we've inherited. And being fair, we did get 2 additional staff members to do that, and we're thankful for that. If you ever go by the water plant, or if you've been back here on Bay Shore, these are some of what you see there, or some of what you don't see anymore is a direct reflection of the work we've done. So, one of the goals we've always had from the beautification part of Jacksonville is to give it more of what I'll refer to as a framed look. And we're trying to create that look in some of these areas where they were a little bit more native in the past. We're trying to maybe corral that look and get them a little more maybe eyeball friendly to some of us, and to look more like what maybe the rest of the city looks like as it's maintained. So just be aware of that. And last but not least, we did some work out on the property on Williamsburg, and I know Susan's going to talk to you a little bit about that property when she discusses some things with you, but we cut some trails out there and did some mowing out there for the Frogman event that was this past weekend, which, if you're not aware, was extremely, massively successful. We got a call about it today. I guess they had their maximum number of bow and arrow participants that they could have. So I think they had 60 or 70 total people last year. I think they were in the hundreds this year. So
It's like 140.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And that's it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Any questions for Mike? All right, Ms. Baptist.
All right, so I feel like we just got done with basketball season, and we did, but we're back in spring. Basketball went well for us. It's a lot of kids, it's a lot of teams, it's a lot of moving kids all over the place, but it was a successful season. Worked well with the school system and all of those sites, but we're glad to put that behind us, and now we're outside on our beautiful ballparks. So when you go by, you'll see them all out there now. They were out there practicing when I left out of the office. So spring season is upon us, which means volleyball filled up really quick. Volleyball, as I've mentioned before, is extremely popular. But then all of our spring t-ball, baseball, softball, all of that is doing well for us too. So we're excited to get that underway as soon as this pollen is away from us. Hopefully these kids can breathe out there. But also on our horizon is our summer day camp. Registration started off. For those of you who don't know, I do give preference to city residents for a summer day camp. They get about 2 weeks. It's just our way of thanking our citizens and having that opportunity, because our camps do fill up. So we've had 2 weeks for just city residents, and then we open up to non-city residents, and then of course it'll fill up at no time. So most of our sites are already full. Hopefully parents out there watching aren't going to wait until school gets out on whatever the 15th to realize they need a summer program, but give us a call or reach out to us if you're interested in summer day camp. We have a good program, and I'm extremely proud of the staff that work that program. So good programs. We also will be hiring a lot of folks from a temporary, to work the summers. We have a lot of great returning staff that come out every year, a lot of them that work in the school system, so it's a really nice dovetail for us. But we will have some openings on a couple of new bus drivers and some other spots. So be on the lookout if you see any openings. And we're just trying to get all of our spots filled so we have a good summer. Some other spring events, obviously, we have Easter around the corner. So in about 2 weeks' time, we have all of our egg hunts, and it's quite a few. So on Friday, the 11th, is our flashlight egg hunt. That's for the older kids. And then on Saturday, the 12th, is a slew of egg hunts. And I say a slew because they're broken up into 3 different age groups. So we'll have 3 egg hunts, and then we also end for about we take a break for about an hour, and then we have a special needs egg hunt. So we want to be inclusive and aware of some of maybe sensory issues or some mobility concerns for some of our special needs population. And so we will pivot to another location, a smaller location, and we'll do that for our special needs population. So we have a flashlight egg hunt for the older kids, all of the younger kids back-to-back consecutively, and then we have one for our special needs population. So we're happy to do that. Fingers crossed, it's another beautiful Saturday for us, and we'll get it in, and everybody will have a great time, and we'll have plenty of eggs because we buy probably 10,000 eggs. I mean, it's a lot of eggs that we purchase, so nobody runs dry on that event or that day. So right behind our egg hunts is our Jamboree event, May 2nd. We're always excited about this event. It brings a lot of vendors and a lot of people, and we've added entertainment. I have a really great crew of folks that are really pumping up the live entertainment and the bands, especially now that they have this stage. So we offset the savings, if I'm being honest, we offset some of that savings from not having to rent the stage to putting it back into the band. So we have a 3rd band live entertainment this year. So we're really excited to just really focus on a lot of those good things, along with some athletic events that will tie in for the weekend. So Jamboree is on May 2nd. I would be remiss, Michael mentioned the Ospreys. If you haven't kind of gotten your notice, the Osprey season is right around the corner. I know we were talking about this, seems like, the great baseball team that came to town last summer, but they have got things planned and scheduled for the summer. We're really excited to be working with them again this summer. One of the things they did get awarded was an all-star game. That is on June 28th, I believe. It's June 28th. I'm not right on that. It's that Saturday. So really excited. My team is going to be helping them with having a great all-star day. So we're going to have a live band and just some really community feel and community activities. And then they're going to do all the fun stuff with baseball and then have the all-star game. I think they're having a home run derby. I mean, all sorts of good stuff that they'll be having. We have some great improvements that we're making, every season, and especially after the season this past go around, we got some good feedback. So a couple of things you'll be seeing as an improvement is a new scoreboard. Again, thank you to the TDA. They've been very generous because we realize that scoreboard that we have out there, I'll be honest, is really geared towards the kids that we've had out there. But now we want we want the big shebang when you're talking about, college students and adults playing. So we have a new scoreboard coming out and getting installed, hopefully before the season. We also have some improvements Michael's crew has already made to the ball field, and then we also have some player amenities, dugouts. Are going to get a refit on both of those dugouts, so we're happy about that. And then just some other things. They're switching some things up, so you'll see a little bit of a different feel from their end with the concessions piece, and I think some of their retail. But you'll see a little bit of different. But they are excited. They're ready to go. The Patinos have been great to work with, so we're just here to support and help them however they can because we realize it's great for the whole community. So we're excited about that. That was a very quick run through. Obviously, I could go on and on all of the stuff we're offering, but I know that you all have some questions, and I am excited to show you some nice new things. Okay, do your magic, Alan.
IT?
Uh-oh, here we go. Oh, thank you. So I feel pretty comfortable in this update on the, 400 acres, it's 300 there, but so we did present to council. We were waiting for that first piece to come out, and part of our consultants came out and did a very nice presentation to them. So this is what I want to show you, and we've had lots of discussion to get to this point, but what we're looking at, this is the indoor complex, and I feel pretty comfortable, and Michael can, back me up on this. This is not 100% 100% decided on. There's still some moving parts. This is still flexible as far as some changes that might occur, but we're pretty comfortable that this is pretty much the floor plan, this is the design, this is the concept, this is what we're going to move forward with. And as you can see, there's a lot going on here, but I'll just do my best. I don't know that I have,
Put your finger on it.
okay, here we go. So right here is the basketball courts. You can only see 8 there, but on the other side, what it's showing you is what this looks like for, like, say, a huge sports event. But there's 8 basketball courts on both sides. That gives you 16. And then also in here, there's volleyball. So what you see is volleyball and basketball, as well as what we would do on this right side for, let's say, a large concert. It's sort of like an arena setup at this point.
Finals at a tournament.
Finals at a tournament. We've got it so that we could host like a junior college level sort of basketball. So you're seeing lots of things go on here, but just know that it's really versatile. We have storage. We have a nice corridor around. The concept is this is what we're calling the Great Hall. And that is really when you go to these large complexes, you need space for these teams. You need space for their parents and all the siblings, but this is what we consider the Great Hall. It's a large area enough that people can get in and maneuver around, get to where they need to be, as well as all of the marketplace where they can buy their concessions and kind of maneuver until they get around. So also coming into this area is a lobby area, and that would be kind of like a segue point to either go to the left, which I'll show you, or to the right. That's kind of our ticket area, our lobby to kind of get people queued up. I'll show you a picture of the outside in just a minute, but just know that this is going to be like your central entrance if you have to enter in, like, if there's, let's say, a concert, this is where you would kind of come in and you would kind of go from there. Obviously, behind there is some offices, but then we all know we probably lack more indoor space, but this picture down here, and I'll have a closer one here in a minute, but that is what we're trying to attempt in a conference area. This is a large space that can house military balls. I know Ms. Mayo isn't here right now, but that's one of the things we heard multiple times when we got that feedback. But we don't have enough meeting space for large groups. We don't have enough meeting space. We don't even have a large enough space for a high school graduation right now. If they have to move inside, you can, one parent, 2 parents, and then you're cut off. And they all have to just pray for good weather. So we're really excited that we think this is going to house a lot of those community needs, as well as, the opportunity to bring people into the area. So let me show you a little bit. I don't think my clicker's working, Alan. Oh, okay, here we go. This is a little bit closer of what I showed you on the gym. Again, you can barely see the layout as far as the volleyball and the basketball goes, but just know that we have it all in there, as well as some other versatility when we want to either have a concert or a tournament or all of the large things that we want to have going on. We're pretty firm on this setup. We like it. We've had many people looking at it, reviewing it, consultants. So it's going to pretty much stay this footprint, but it still might tweak a little bit, obviously. We got the square footage to where we wanted it, which was overall about 150,000 square foot. That's cumulative, and we feel pretty comfortable that that's a manageable space for us.
How big are the toilets?
I mean, there's a lot, but I don't know right off the top of my head. But as you can see, there's toilets here, toilets here, toilets here. So, the consultants do a lot of work when it comes to the numbers and that kind of stuff. And then you'll see on the next one, there's more toilets.
And one of the things about the restroom facilities, just be aware, first of all, there's a code that defines the toilets, Secondly is one of the values that both Susan and I had during this process, and I think you had this value, is when we went to some of the other facilities and we saw some of the things that maybe, you learn what to do when you go to the Rocky Mounts or to the South Carolinas or to the Greenville, North Carolinas. You learn what to do, but you also learn what?
Not to do.
What not to do, which is as important. And we are very aware of the needs of any facility we build to be able to handle restroom facilities as well as storage. storage.
Storage.
Those are two key items, and I think the city has done an awesome job of making sure those items were at the forefront. For example, Rocky Mount built a beautiful facility down there, but everything they store is miles away. That's a problem because you have to literally, each time you do something, you have to go off-site, miles away.
Haul it in.
Haul it in, all of those sorts of things. You don't really want to have to do those sorts of things. So anyway,
May I interject?
Absolutely.
One of the things you did mention, I don't know if it's where you're headed, but we're looking at changeable floors so that you can have different kinds of striping, not everything down at once. So the floors can be swapped out for different kinds of sports activities, and the storage up there at the top, that gray, was specifically designed to store that flooring.
right.
So
So that-
just for example.
So you're saying, well, the main gym is that a multi-purpose facility?
It's a multi-purpose facility. We haven't decided on the exact floor material, but just know, to Ms. Edwards' point, it's going to be a floor that multi-purposely can serve. So in other words, the basketball floor is going to be a basketball floor, but if we have a graduation in there, it's going to be maybe not the basketball floor, it'll be something on top of it, something to protect it, some other sort of system on top. So whether it is, the main floor is the basketball floor, whatever else goes on top of it to protect it for another type of event might be the deciding factor. We haven't decided on those details yet, just know that it's all part of the best utilization and the most effective system that we end up deciding on, if that makes sense.
So in another way, I'm going to say it a little differently, is the facility is definitely a multi-purpose facility. At this point, the flooring, basketball floor, volleyball floor, event floor, different floors. We don't want to create a facility like this that creates chaos for people to come play in it, because there's 17 different set of lines on a court. And which one's the out-of-bound lines for
Yeah.
what we're doing? So, yeah, we will, at this point, and we're early in this game still, at this point, our preference would be to have separate flooring for those sorts of events. I hope that answers.
Yes.
And
Susan, real quick, so on the right, could you use the right as you would have it right now on the left?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And let me just clarify, because I misspoke earlier. So what you're looking at here these are 8 volleyball courts. This is 4 basketball. So I had that wrong earlier. So yes, you would just you're duplicating this. We're showing 2 different versatilities, but for the most part, this version on the left is what the whole thing will look like. The version on the right is just showing you what it could look like with the different setup. So, and then also, like, these bleachers will be telescopic bleachers, so they'll push back in. These will not be telescopic because there won't be a wall here. Those will be like rented or tip and roll, but all of these will be telescopic. That will go back into the wall. But yes, this will be mirrored over on the other side. So it's
Is there a catwalk upstairs?
not at this point, but we've discussed it.
Okay. You laughed at me for, Mr.
No, that's all.
No, we've talked about it.
We've talked
We've
very
talked
much
about
in
it.
depth about that.
Next slide, please. So this is the conference area, and it's showing you the different versions of how you could set this room up. Just know that there's all partition walls, so everything can get opened up and make it a very large space. And I want to say you can get, if I'm not mistaken, 300 seated. But it's a lot of people seated.
At least.
At least. And then, as you'll see in a lot of large conference centers, you have that pre-function area that you can utilize with vendors or setup or food or whatever the case is. But this is an idea that you can have smaller meetings, ongoing breakout sessions, whatever the case is, and then you can versatility, use this room, this room, however you need to. But we're trying to be as effective with all the space. Just know that you have a large space, and then it can get broken down into others. Yes, sir.
How many people, if you put a concert in there, how many people can you see?
I think we have it up to about 3,000,
3,000 to 4,000.
3,000 to 4,000.
That's in the gym.
That was in that right-hand side.
Right.
So that's the most you can put in there is 3,000 or 4,000? Okay.
Now, one of the cool things about Susan talking about these conference room A, B, and C that we saw that I thought was awesome. This was part of the value of traveling around is when you think about early on at the Commons or when you go to a lot of places, they use these walls that you slide in and slide out. In Greenville, what they did, they had a different approach. And it's not literally a garage door, but they had but something that served like a garage door that actually went up into the ceiling across, and you were able to open those spaces that way. So, wow, way to save on storage. Pretty easy because it's a button. You're not trying to put a wall up. I mean, it was pretty neat to see the ingenuity of somebody doing that and thinking, okay, that was pretty smart, to do things that way. Yes, sir.
How about your parking?
I'll get to that, but yeah, next slide, please. All right, so this is a 3D rendering, and it's a little bit, these are different renderings of the same piece. So what I want to point out is basically, okay, this is the conference area we were just looking at. This is that ticket space. And then this large building is the gym piece. So what we wanted to do was create an area, and I'm enjoying this finger drawing way too much, so I apologize. First off, I've learned so much about how to get cars in and out and queued up and get them out. It's been fascinating. But it's not a traditional roundabout, but it gets people moving around and around the corner, and then drop your kids off and keep going. Parking lot there, and then the overall view, which I don't have today for you, just because there's still some moving parts on that. Sorry about that. We have lots of parking. There's lots of parking. We realize that parking is going to be huge. So yeah, if you can just kind of use your, this one is a little.
Glorified imagination.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I know. So this is another view looking at, that's the ticket area, that's the conference, and then that would be the side of the sports complex. But it just shows you a little bit about what we're trying to do, intentionality as far as coming into the space, where you're going to go, how you're going to quickly get people in and out. We realize that on large events, people all come in at the same time, and they need to get in, drop off, unload, whatever the case is, and then keep moving. So we're excited that we're at this point in the process. I will also tell you that there is lots of other discussions going on with our next steps are the exterior, the materials, what does it look like, what's the feel. The consultants are, architecture is a fascinating field, and there's just been a lot of great discussion about what we want this to look and feel like. Not at the point where we can show you anything. It really is still a tabletop discussion, but there's certainly going to be some fast movement in the next coming months as those discussions keep taking place. So we're trying to be respectful. I believe council is getting an update in the next handful of weeks. So once they get that update, obviously we'll get the rest of the updates to everybody else, because we want to make sure we're following in line. The other thing I'll tell you is that there's also been some good movement as far as the management company goes. We've already interviewed some potential groups out there. There are groups out there that do this all across the country. It's been really interesting to see how they manage these large complexes, and we're on the table for some of those people to come to us and basically manage something this large with this much going on. And what I'm showing you now obviously isn't the entire complex, because keep in mind there's still outdoor amphitheater and rectangular field. So there's a lot at the end of the day that is going to get managed. But just know that we're working behind the scenes just about every couple of days on another discussion. And this is, it's been an exciting project, but we'll keep you posted as council gets updates, as we get feedback from council. I believe they are basically going to look at some of the updates and then either move forward with the management company that we've selected or not. So we'll see. But yeah, no, it's been exciting. We're happy to at least show you this much. Any questions?
The management company, real quick, are they going to have any deciding factor on how we're doing this?
That's the whole goal. So a lot of like the discussions on the flooring type. They might have some, I'll be honest with you, these companies have 3 other facilities in the country. We're not unique in this concept of a large sports complex. So they're the ones that are going to say, hey, I really think you should consider this material or this product, or this is best use, because they're the ones that are going to have the labor. And so I think that that's going to be key. We've not decided on the flooring material because we really do want to bring those people in and have that discussion, because it's their labor that has to set up and break down and do those sort of things. So
It's also an ask the expert kind of.
it's absolutely.
They know more than we do.
They know more than we do, for sure. We know what we have to do with just the commons, and this is much larger than the scope of the commons, and it takes a lot for us to set up. When we have a large event, just like our Christmas party, it takes all of his guys to come and set those tables and chairs up for just one Christmas party. And it's like, oh, wow, imagine if we had a concert and we've got all those people in there. So that's the intent on going now to get a company. They will basically come on board as consultants as we're in the pre-design stage. And then they'll be able to basically offer out what their suggestions and what their feedback is, so that we want them to be successful, and we don't want them to be, starting off on well, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? So that is the goal, actually, to get them on board so that they at least have that opportunity to give us that feedback.
Next question.
Great question.
But how does it affect the neighborhoods in the area?
Well, it's going to affect traffic. There's a lot. I will just say that's another piece that, we have lots of branches working on this project. So it's a great question. But right now they are working with Ryan King and his planners really, really closely, the consultants, and they're working on a PUD. Planning Unified Development?
Yep.
Yes, okay, thank you. I wanted to make sure I had that right. So that is actually going to come online not that long from now, and the folks that live there and the public will certainly have all the opportunities to see what that looks like. I think a PUD is going to be a great opportunity for us to make sure that we are able to effectively plan and develop that entire area, not just this, but the retail, the commercial piece, the townhomes, all of that. But I think that'll be a great way for us to move forward. But we're getting there, Mr. Ross. I don't have any exact answers for you, but we will.
It could be a great place, but if you got the neighbors looking at lights at 11 o'clock at night.
One of those neighbors.
I know.
Yeah.
I think all of
Yeah.
One of the things that works to the advantage of the immediate adjoining neighborhood is the natural buffer that is back there. There's a whole section of the property between the existing neighborhood and the planned development that is basically untouchable and undevelopable because it's wetlands and marshy. And so that vegetative buffer is going to be significant and stay put, and that will help. It also gives us a great place for like bike trails and the Frogman events. That we can use it for that. We just can't pave any of it. So it's a good win-win on that piece, because there's at least a good buffer there for some of the lighting and noise piece. Traffic ingress and egress, that would be one go.
This is not going to go that far, no.
Okay.
No, great question. Stay tuned. We won't do anything on that PUD without obviously council having looked at it, without the public having had a chance. There's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to those level decisions. Right now, it is, it's renderings, and we have some great consultants, some great planners looking at all of that to make this happen for everybody.
Mr. Hinkle, go ahead.
Gordon England, a former Secretary of the Navy, said, "We do what we fund." So have we discussed any funding?
Beat me
We
to
actually
it.
have not discussed funding.
Yeah. How much we talking?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't even attempt to. Unless Michael over here or Miss Edwards, I would not
Give us an
venture
estimate.
way of.
36 million?
I'm not going to give you an estimate. I'm going to tell you that when this project started, there was numbers that were given an estimate that if everything was built out, and I mean everything.
Full development?
Yes, it was around 150 million. Now
That's not enough.
that was
That was then. This is now.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while. 3 years is
Yeah.
it's a long time ago. Now, I don't think all that's city money either. I think, you're going to have some sale of property. You're hopefully, this isn't a facility that we in Jacksonville's ever seen before. Hopefully, we're able to build a facility that somebody wants to put their name on it. Well, and we want them to put their name on it, but it's going to cost money to put their name on. You know, we want people to not just, you know, this sounds, we don't want people to just buy into the facility. We want to buy into the community. Okay, so that's the type of people we're looking to partner with, and I think we're going to get those partners. One of the things that's been very impressive to me after being here a couple of days, we've been fairly aggressive with the timeline on this. I would say very aggressive. And to the credit of the people leading it, we are still staying on the timeline. And that in itself is not something that's traditional, you see, from city and government. We've been able to stay pretty much on time and meet those important dates, and I'm pretty impressed with that. So it's been kind of neat to watch that process and be a part of it, to be honest with you.
I can't give you nitty-gritty details, but if you don't mind, I can add a little bit to the funding.
Sure. Was I right on that number, by the way? Okay.
Yeah, we've actually, I've heard numbers as high as $350 million for the entire development.
Sure.
But that is not all public funding. You're right on the money on that one. The facility itself is going to be a chunk for sure, but just like it's a multi-purpose facility, it's going to have multiple streams of revenue. Right. So part of the plan going in is the land sales and private development. There's some things that will be happening around it that will help funnel funds back into the project. Obviously, with something that large, just with the infrastructure, just to get sewer and water and asphalt and, you know, roads in and out, to get just the infrastructure pieces done are going to be a heavy lift. So there will be financing that's required, but we're looking at ways that we can get the financing and the land sales and earned income, multiple streams of revenue to come back so that it's, you know, we're going to have to do a little lifting on the front end, but we know that we want to get it back. So it's not coming out of just taxpayers' pockets. You know, we obviously will be spending tax dollars to get it started, but there's ways that we can leverage different parts of the project as it develops out. One of the things too, you mentioned parking, you know, all of the parking won't be there day one for that reason. Some of it is planned to be added as it phases out. So the parking, the facility might be going up, but and even in use before all of the planned parking is fully available, just because that's phase 2 and it's coming. But it will, you know, it's taking it in phases and doing multiple streams of revenue will help offset some of that lift that's required.
Yep.
And the Jackie, I mean, it really turned out well. I mean, that was a great deal. I mean, that was spot on. Everybody did do a little deal, and everybody was happy, I think, the community and everybody. That was a win-win, definitely. And you putting so much money in this, if you get it wrong, just one section of it, it can, you know, responsibility and the time and effort is going to be needed to make sure it's done right, because if it's not, whether it be a neighbor or neighbors, or the parking's not exactly right and somebody gets hurt or something, I mean, there's a lot of things you have to think about.
This is probably about 10 years out, I would think, before we...
I mean, I think we're at a good pace.
I think it's a lot.
The directive from council has been make it happen.
Yes.
So I don't think it'll be the typical 10 to 20 project. It's going to be.
Well, I think we you know, to what you just said, remember, it's going to go in phases.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see, potentially as quick as 3 years us doing stuff out there. Wouldn't you? I mean,
I can see, you know, dirt moving, but it won't be completed in 3 years.
No.
Don't hurt my squirrels.
Anyways, just know that this is our first, you know, round of making you all aware as we pick up momentum with council and decisions and in the PUD. We will certainly keep you posted as well. So stay tuned. This is a first of many updates. So, but if you have any questions in between our meetings, or you see something out there that you have questions on, certainly reach out. And I wanted to just also let you know that we've had a change in our leadership. I shouldn't say a change, but we've had additional leadership added to the city's management, and that is we have 2 assistant city managers. And so Anthony Prinz, who's been over kind of heading this, he's done an excellent job, was promoted to assistant assistant city manager, and Terrell Blackman is a new external candidate that was also hired on as the assistant city manager. So the reason I say that is because Anthony has been heading this project, I'll say, up, and he's just really been going at it as far as spearheading these efforts and making sure everything is getting done. But he's available for any questions. I'm available. Mr. Blackman's available. Obviously, Mr. Ray is available. We're all available to answer any questions as we kind of keep going down this road and, make these things happen. So we're excited, but there's still a lot more to work. But this is just one version. I know that was a lot, so.
I want to go back to the Ospreys. I was cornered a couple weeks ago by a Bill and a Russ, some retired Marines that come out at every game at Ospreys. And everything was very successful. They just wanted to know what we were going to do differently for concessions on that opening night.
So obviously, we didn't run concessions,
Correct, and I
but
make sure
they
I
are
understood.
planning on running concessions.
Okay.
They are planning on doing a much larger concessions operation. And so I think they've done all the steps. In fact, I got an email from them the other day in their steps with the health department. So I think their intent is to run a pretty comprehensive ball field concessions operations. So I feel pretty comfortable they're going to have the hot dogs, the nachos, the popcorn, the drinks, all of that for sale from their standpoint, as well as the food truck. So I think they've upped the ante, and I think they are going to take on that operation so that they can control, make sure they have enough, make sure that they have adequate supplies, and make sure it's staffed. And then, obviously they can operate the revenue.
And to be fair, I'm not sure you can solve opening night.
Right, yes, it was tremendous.
2,300 people showing up. I'm not sure how you solve that when you're dependent on food trucks and things like that. That's tough. It's not easy to
It
solve.
was a
that.
successful night.
Well, looking on their plan, it looks like they're going to have entrance a little bit different
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
year.
they're changing
versus
it up.
Changing it up a little bit. And
Yeah, it's going to look a little bit different. We've, operationally, we've had these discussions. As soon as the season was over, we started meeting about it. So I think they've made some new changes, some new improvements. I think it'll go a little bit smoother. And I think you will see some more variety when it comes to the concessions and some better options out there.
awesome.
Good
Any
question.
questions for Susan before we move on?
Will the revenues from the food concessions be shared with the city?
No, it'll go to them. They have the lease with us, so whatever they can create and offset their expenses is theirs. But they have that basically ball field leased out, so it's not for us to share. But it's fine, I'm happy for them. But I do think that that's part of the motivation between operating their own revenue, if I'm being honest. It's an opportunity for them to kind of recapture some of their expenses.
All right, Madam Councilwoman?
No report, really. I've already commented a few things as we've gone through here. The only thing I've got coming up is I'm looking forward to attending the Defense Community Summit in Arlington coming up here. I'll be leaving on the 31st and up there for a couple of days representing Jacksonville as a defense community. So we'll keep a pulse on some of the subjects that come up there. And of course, it won't all be Parks and Rec related, but if there's anything that relates and just, things that will be impacting our community at large, they tend to trickle down and one thing affects the other. So I'll be happy to bring back a report of what I can suss
Well, I've
out.
for one been doing this just a hair, and I duly appreciate you showing up to every meeting. So it's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Mr. Spring, you want to give us an update on the planning?
Sure. We had a meeting this past month, but the month before we didn't. This last meeting, we were looking at 2 storage facilities. And we brought up the question about, are you going to reach a saturation point in storage facilities? And the answer is probably not. They seem to pop up everywhere, and to my knowledge, I don't think I know of a single one that ever went out of business. So if that doesn't tell you that we've got room for them, I mean, all the ones I know of from before, when I was going to Storage Bay auctions, they're still there, and hasn't slowed them down. And driving back and forth to Wilmington, I see all the ones going up, so I'm going like, there's a lot of stuff people want to store somewhere. So, I mean, if you live next door to them, they're relatively quiet neighbors. I mean, I have one right down the street from me in Branchwood. You never hear a peep from them. So, It's not a high-traffic area, so, I don't know. Guess it's a pretty good way to use your land.
There you go. Anything else,
That's
sir? That's it? All right, so moving on to the park reports. Mr. Steve?
All right, when people reserve picnic shelters, so they sign up for some stuff, and what are the restrictions? Do they have to clean up?
They do, they have a whole list of things they're supposed to do, and they sign off saying they're going to.
So, a
but
common
yes.
thing that I see, and the dog and my wife when we walk around, is gender reveal parties. There's a lot of crap left over.
Confetti.
Yes, yes.
They're supposed to clean it up. I'm sure Michael's guys can just tell you that they don't.
Oh, yeah, they know. So,
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
so is there a consequence?
Well, there's how. For us, I'm not sure how there can be a consequence because our parks are open to the public. And if we're not there every minute to enforce the consequence, I surely wouldn't want to, I don't know how we would do that. And, you know, at the end of the day, I appreciate what you're saying. Trust me, I do. Of anybody in here, I do. Why? Because my staff is the staff that has to deal with that at the end of the day. However, sometimes this is the cost of doing business, to being a good neighbor and making sure that your parks are fun and safe for any and all to use them. That's probably not the answer you wanted to hear, but it's,
Just, you know,
For the larger incidences and the larger concerns that maybe the police would get called for, what I can tell you is that we can get their information and make note of it because they're in the system. When you reserve a shelter, if you reserve it, now granted, they're open to the public, so some people don't even reserve it, we can basically put a note on that account and we can follow up and say, look, we understand you did this or whatever the case is. But if we don't know when and how, at the time that it happens, it's hard for us to follow up. And then if they never reserve shelter again, they're just basically going to call their friend and have them reserve it. So it's not the most effective, but we've had people that will reserve every year the same. So I mean, there is some of that.
most people are good.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's not the most effective follow-up, but.
But the park looks good. Now that it's warmed up, it's really getting a lot of use. So like Saturday and Sunday, no empty spots in the parking lot on either side. For the past couple of weeks, there's been a pickup softball game that seems to be very popular. Like tons of people out there playing, so it's good. And a couple of kids in the neighborhood are bugging me about when the splash pad's gonna open.
Memorial Day weekend.
Really? Can't open a little sooner?
No.
Okay, good to know. And that's all I got.
Okay, Mr. Scott?
Wilson Bay looks great. People out there fishing, people just enjoying the scenery. Woodland Parks, kids are playing when people are playing soccer, so normal activity there.
Thank you.
Mr. Reggie?
Rails to trails, clear, clean, and.
You notice we pressure wash the fence?
Yes. Jacksonville Commons is the place to be in Jacksonville. Tennis courts, pickleball, high school tennis, soccer on the old skateboard facility, and Phillips Park, soccer. The bathrooms are really clean out there as well.
Thank you.
Just a great job.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Ms. Lord.
Mr. Kendrick?
All right. Georgetown, I was out there a few weeks ago. It looks good. Other than, like you saying, the bathrooms wasn't able to be used at that time. They are functioning now.
Yeah. We might have been.
Yeah, it was a few weeks
Might have been
ago.
close because we had painted them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was roped off. So, yeah, and and it was, park was packed that weekend too. And Sturgeon City, same, high usage. So it's really nice. Look good out there. There's trees, but the pollen was killing me. Helping in that.
Things nice and yellow.
Yes.
Mr. Bill?
Yeah, a little rough. Restroom was in bad shape. And I walked over to the water fountain, talk to it, and it couldn't talk back. It was busted. So then looked over, and then I saw a big anthill next to a tree. So I called Mike, and he got a funny phone call this morning at 8 o'clock. He was on time. He was right there. So
I've been there an hour, Mr. Ross.
yeah, you did. Great job. So I called Mike and told him about the restroom. I thought, obviously something had to be done. So Mike took it and I'm sure did a great job. Scott was there with him, and so they took care of it. So, but that's the first time I gave kind of a rough report on. As long as I've
Yeah, Mr. Ross, unfortunately, was very shocked this morning when he called in. And we were shocked hearing it, and I told him before the meeting started, he goes, the water fountain, something's wrong with, something's just not right. So we went out there and looked at it, and unfortunately, these are sometimes the things that you deal with. Somebody actually took the screws out of it. Yeah. And what do you want me to say? They literally backed the screws out. Now, we can resolve that. Why? I can't answer the whys to some things. I just don't know.
Mr. Spring?
Sherwood Forest was fine. It was, there was enough pollen that the rubber surface on the playground looks almost yellow, but it still looks nice. In Branchwood, there was just a little bit of trash, but it was easy to grab hold of. But the split rail fence at the front of Branchwood probably needs some attention. I guess it's been there a while, and it shows that some of the pieces might be, pulling away or falling off. I don't know.
Thank you for telling me.
But other than that, it looked fine.
Okay, as far as mine, Richard Ray, looks really good. I did notice you were talking about earlier about replacing some of the gravel stuff, so I did see that. And then Jack Emiett, people out there playing basketball. I go by there pretty much daily, and if there's something wrong, all I gotta do is wait till the next day and it's fixed, so no call necessary. So I'll leave the calls to Mr. Ross.
Please feel free to call. But there is a value in calling. I do need you to call. That's awesome.
All right, any other questions before we go to One City Moment? All right, One City Moment.
So I didn't mention this, and I know you've heard me in the past talk about our pickleball, how popular it is. It is popular. We had a pickleball tournament. I will just say it was a huge tournament, over 260 registered. I'm not going to show you all the pictures, but they're very proud of their winner circle, and I just wanted to show you the gamut. This is I don't want to say older brackets, but these are some of the men's and some of the women's that play. These ladies and men came from all over. We had them from Virginia. One couple lives in Alaska, and they came down here and used this as an opportunity to vacation. So, they come from all over with that number of folks. Next slide. This is just a view. We managed to get 6 courts in here. It's tight, but we played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was a lot, but it was a great weekend, and nobody got hurt. It was not till the next week that we had somebody play and get hurt, and I guess they were just fatigued out. But anyways, then we had a great weekend. And then I just wanted to show you the next slide. This just shows you the age range, and these 2 ladies in the middle had played while they were pregnant, had babies, and they're still playing, and it just shows you, when you hear about this sport and the growing expanse of this sport, you can see the age range when it comes to everybody playing. And so we've added more days, we've added more times, and Jack Emiett, and at the Commons, so you can pretty much go at any of our sites pretty much during the day, and in some evenings, and on Saturday, and find pickleball going on between the 2 facilities. So we opened up a 18 and older category on Sunday, and we had, you talk about some cutthroat younger Marines that are playing. They'll get you. It's really a fun sport to play, but really to watch. And so I'm just really proud of the team and making this happen for all the people that come and do it. But it was a great weekend for us, and we're ready to do it again next year. So that's really just what I wanted to kind of share with everybody.
Okay, before we adjourn, anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Nope. All right, take note, May 19th is a week earlier for our meeting. So in May, make sure you jot that on your calendars, and if we don't have anything else.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Appreciate it, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.